Hi, welcome to Art Time with Flori. Today's tutorial will be what can you use instead of a paintbrush, or if you don't know how to use a paintbrush. Let's get started. Alright, so we are now going to show you the materials that you can use in place of a paintbrush, or if your child doesn't know how to use a paintbrush, this is something that you can practice and teach him or her how to use. Okay, so we're going to start off with the black sponge paintbrush. So I'm going to dip it on the paint. I'm going to show you what it looks like. I'm going to start with yellow. So I'm going to get the tips. So you can see like there's an angle around it. So it's like a paintbrush, but it's a sponge, right? Sometimes our kids have texture issues. They may not like how a paintbrush feels, so you can use a sponge. So this is what it looks like. You can do little dips on the side, make lines, sideway lines. So that is how you can use a paintbrush. It has the same look that a paintbrush would have, and you could do different things to it, like little angles. See, little triangles. All right, so I'm gonna put this aside, and now we're gonna move on to the next item. If you can't get a black sponge brush, then you can create your own sponge brush. You can go to the 99-cent store, buy some sponge, cut them up into squares, whatever size you want actually. Get a clothespin, squeeze that in, and pinch it. This is also a really great fine motor skill for your child if he has trouble with clothespin. This is a fun way. It's interactive. You can just tell your kid, we're going to paint with the sponge brush. We're going to paint with the sponge, and this is how you do it. You can model this and have him squeeze, pinch the brush, and then have him paint. So this is what it looks like when you use sponge painting with a clothespin. So I'm going to use red. So I'm going to dip it in my side right here, get a nice color, and just, so as you can see, it's pretty much just like the yellow on top. Sideways, you can tap it, so it gives you a nice look. You can do sideways and little lines using the side angles. There we go. So this is what it looks like using a sponge. I'm going to put it to the side right here. Now the following item is the sea sponge. Grab a clothespin. Now the sea sponge is a bit more delicate, so you really want to make sure that you get in there. So like before, this is an opportunity to work on fine motor skills if your child has difficulties with their fine motor skills. So you want to pinch, but you really want to squeeze it in. Make sure it's in. See how it's in? Perfect. So now we're going to use the color blue. So it's not as thick, but it still gives the same look. Same look as the yellow, red. And so you can also do tap, tap, tap. So you see, it looks a little different than I would say the kitchen sponge, right? You can do little lines. It's really easy. So this is something that you could definitely use if you don't have a black sponge brush or a kitchen sponge. If you have this in handy, use it. Now the last thing I'm going to use is a cotton ball. So we're going to grab our cotton ball and our clothespin. What you want to do with our cotton ball is you really want to like squeeze it tight, right? So you get the top part. You want the part that's a little bit more, I don't want to say harder, just that's more balled up to the top. So you pinch the bottom. And this might be a really great sensory input for your child because it's so soft and you can squeeze it. So you have your child pinch it, and here we go. You pinch it open, and once again you can work on fine motor skills, making it fun and interactive and not boring, not making it a task, because the kid's going to create something great with their cotton ball. So once you have that set and ready to go, you can dip your cotton ball into the paint. So for today, I'm going to use, let's do some blending colors. Let's do red. So I'm gonna paint vertically. And so as you can see, the paint really glides on really smoothly and nicely. It's actually the easiest. It glides in a lot smoother than the other three sponges. So look at that. It really blends the color really nicely. And you can do little dots and textures too. So that's what it looks like when you use a cotton ball. So as you can see, there are 4 different types of ways that you can use and create your own paintbrushes instead of buying one. This is how you can create your own little paintbrushes with different types of textures. So each and every one has their own unique way of outcome. So here we go. I hope that this was helpful.